How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Fantasy Philosophy. We're here again with Pete, Paul, Kev's back, and we got Mike again holding it down with the backwards hat, looking great as always. Today we're going to go through some matchups, try to pick either ors with some guys, and then do some over-unders, go through some projections and see, are those guys going to score over, or are they going to score under those projections? All right, so let's start at the 9:30 game, right in the morning. We're waking up early, waking up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Maybe we'll just not watch it. We don't know. But we got two running backs in the Vikings backfield. We got Lat Murray or Jerick McKinnon. Mike, who are you taking?
Jerick McKinnon, no. It's good. It's going to be Latavius Murray. They're going to get ahead very fast. They're going to ground and pound, and they're going to give the ball to Latavius Murray.
Kev, what do you think?
I agree, man. The Browns defense, the Browns team, it's terrible. Vikings are going to go up. McKinnon's a passing down back. Latavius Murray, ground and pound. He's gonna feed.
All right. Pete?
Give me McKinnon. The Browns have been tough against the run, so I like McKinnon better.
I also agree. Go with McKinnon. Browns are quietly one of the best rush defenses in the NFL.
Yep.
Go with McKinnon. Lat Murray was a
Fluke.
That's it.
I got you.
There you go. You got me, baby.
Tough matchup, go with McKinnon. If it's an easy matchup, go with Latavius.
I like that. All right. Let's move on to the next game. We got Falcons versus the Jets. Two great pass-catching running backs on both sides. Tevin Coleman or Matt Forte. Let's start on this side this time. Peter, who are you taking?
I got to take Coleman. I like them both, but I got to take Coleman. And because the Jets have given up the seven most yards to receiving back, so go Coleman.
I'm actually going to go with Matt Forte. I think the Falcons still have not regained their confidence, which is something we don't really talk about in fantasy. We don't talk about the mental state of teams. But in this case, I really do think Falcons have lost their confidence. I think Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman are still going to have slow games. I think Matt Forte is the pass-catching back. He's going to get over 100 yards and probably punch one in for a touchdown. Kev, what do you think?
I'm going Matt Forte, not because I don't like Tevin Coleman, but because I like Devontae Freeman more. I think the Falcons are going to be up by a lot, so they're going to feed the rock to Devontae Freeman, who's more of a consistent runner. Coleman's used in the red zone and kind of a passing guy. So it's going to be Devontae Freeman eating. Coleman's not going to be seeing it too much, and Matt Forte is going to get more.
Gotcha. Mike, what do you think?
Got to go with Forte. He's going to get a bulk of the carries in New York, and he's going to get a lot more catches.
All right, there you have it. Little push towards Matt Forte on the end. All right, same game. Two wide receivers that maybe are not the biggest names, but definitely flyers this week with 6 teams on a bye. Mohamed Sanu or Jermaine Kearse. Mike, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Jermaine Kearse. He gets a lot of the looks in New York. He has a lot of potential to get a lot of catches, where Sanu is more a big player bust.
Kev, what do you think?
I'm going with Mike. Kearse is the guy in New York. Pete definitely knows that. He gets a couple lucky touchdowns. They're going to target Julio a lot more, and I think Kearse is going to outplay Sanu a little bit.
I actually like Sanu in this game. I know I said that the Falcons have no confidence, but I actually, out of all those pass catchers, I like Sanu. He's pretty consistent. Did pretty well last week with 65 yards and 6 catches. I actually look for him to have kind of around the same stat line this week. Pete, what do you think?
I'm going to have to agree with you. And Mike said that Sanu is boomer bust and Kearse is the other way. I'm going to have to flip that around.
Yeah.
Because Kearse had 1 catch for a touchdown, and that's where he got all his production. And then he was gone.
Sounds like Will Fuller.
Sanu, he gets more of the... Sanu gets more of the volume. He'll be involved heavily. He'll be on the field more than Kearse will be on the field. I like him.
All right, let's move on to the Carolina versus Tampa Bay game. All right, Devin, Funchess, fun, or Djax. Mike,
I'm going to go with Funchess. He has a better matchup this week. Tampa Bay is struggling heavily. You got to go with the Carolina receivers as a whole.
And I hate to keep agreeing with you, Mike, but I'm going with Fun. I'm actually playing him in my lineup. The Bucs secondary is pretty bad, man. They're the second worst defense in the league right now to quarterbacks and wide receivers. I think Fun and that offense is going to have a really good day.
Okay, I'm actually going with Djax. I think, if you want to throw in a guy that's going to get you some points, I think DeSean Jackson is the guy. I think he has the chance to go over the top, catch that touchdown, have maybe 60 yards in a touchdown, maybe 1 bomb pass. So I would push for DeSean Jackson.
And like Paul said, DeSean may have that bomb, but Fun gets a consistent target. So if you're going with a guy who's going to have a high ceiling, you go DeSean Jackson. But consistency is Fun.
What do you think, Pete?
I'm gonna have to go Funchess as well because, he's gonna get more volume. If you need a big play, if you're down a lot, maybe on a Thursday night game, maybe your opponent had Ravens defense or something like that, throw in D. Jackson and hope for a bomb, but I'm going to have to go Funchess.
All right, let's stay in that same game. We'll go to the quarterbacks. Cam Newton, he's been shaky. All right, he had a poor game last week. He'll look to rebound. Or Jameis Winston, who had a great game last week. Does he push on and continue that? Kev, what do you think? You taking Cam or you taking Jameis?
I'm taking Cam. Like I said, that defense is poor for the Buccaneers. Also, Luke Kuechly got cleared from concussion protocol, so Doug Martin, I feel like he's going to have to face a wall. Right. If the Bucs don't get that run game going, they're going to be struggling in the pass. I'm taking Cam to put up a good amount of points this week.
Are we all in agreement on Cam here? Does anybody disagree?
I think both quarterbacks are going to do well this week, and it's going to be
That's
close.
not an option, Mike.
But Cam, you got to go with Cam. You got to go with Cam. He has too much potential with his legs.
Yeah. I agree.
Tampa Bay giving up nearly 300 passing yards per game. You got to go
10
Cam.
touchdowns, something crazy.
Yeah, go with Cam. All right, let's move on to Eagles and San Francisco. Obviously, you're starting Carson Wentz. You're starting all the pass catchers. You're starting everyone against San Francisco. But there's a small spot of question between the two. Would you want to start at running back for the Eagles, Smallwood or Blount? If you had to choose and put one in, who would you choose this week, Mike?
Blount. He looks like he should be the lead back. He gets all the short yardage carries. He's getting all the red zone carries. He has more potential, and he's going to score. Maybe more than once in this game.
Okay, what do you think, Kev?
Like Mike said, I don't even think this is a question. It's LeGarrette Blount. Smallwood is a guy you play if it's going to be a tight matchup. I think the Eagles are going to be ahead by so much. They're going to be feeding the rock to LeGarrette Blount. Garbage time, give it to LeGarrette. He's going to get some good yards, maybe a touchdown or two.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Garbage time, give it to Blount every day. He'll probably have 20, 25 carries here. What do you think, Pete?
100%. He'll get the volume, he'll get the goal line, he'll get in the end zone. And San Francisco has just been terrible against the run. 100% LeGarrette Blount.
All right, great. Let's move to Bears and Saints. We got two great running backs. It's going to be a running back battle. We got Mark Ingram on the Saints side and Jordan Howard on the Bears side. Jordan Howard might be the only option for the Bears this week if you're starting anyone from the Bears. Maybe Zach Miller, but probably not. If you had to choose between Mark Ingram and Jordan Howard, who would you take? Pete, let's start with you.
I'm going to have to go Mark Ingram. Because, Jordan Howard is facing the Saints, who have quietly been a pretty good defense, a lot of turnovers, and, he'll get the volume for sure. But Ingram is also, as soon as AP's gone, he's been a monster, and I expect it to continue.
Okay. Kev, what do you think?
I would have to agree. The Saints are going to be up. They're going to be running the ball. Although I do think Howard's going to have a good game. He's got to help out the rookie quarterback. Ingram's going to get the bulk of the carries. The Saints are going to be up by a lot. They're going to just run the clock out with Ingram.
Mike, what do you think?
You have to go with Jordan Howard just for the mere fact that they had no other option in Chicago. They did just acquire Dontrell Inman from the Chargers, but I don't see him being a factor anytime in the near future. So you have to go with Jordan Howard just because they have no other option. They're going to give him probably close to 30 carries in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jordan Howard is going to get the volume, but I do think Mark Ingram is going to have more production against the Bears defense. All right, let's go to the Seattle game. We got another good quarterback matchup. Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. Mike, what do you think about that?
I think Deshaun Watson's going to crumble under the pressure of Seattle's home stadium, the 12th man. I don't even think it's going to be close. I don't think Deshaun Watson passes 12 points this week in fantasy. Russell Wilson, I believe, will have a day, probably 20-plus points. It's not even close. You just got to go Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Russell Wilson, I think, is a must-start for the rest of the way. He's got a pretty easy schedule coming up, and I don't think Houston's defense is going to be able to stop him. J.J. Watt out, Merciless out. I don't think he's going to have trouble. And he's great moving out of the pocket and making those passes. So I think it's Russell Wilson this week. What do you guys think? Agree or disagree?
I would disagree. I said it before. I think Watson is a real deal, and I think he's going to show it this week against a great Seattle defense in Seattle. And I would go with Watson. I know the Seahawks are going to put up a good matchup, but I think Watson's the guy.
Pete, what do you think?
I love Watson for sure, but if we had to pick, I'd go Wilson. Just because when Russell gets hot, he's going to stay hot.
Right.
So I would have to play him.
Okay, let's move on to the Sunday night game. We didn't speak too much about it in our last video going on about matchups, so we're going to talk a little bit about that in depth. But let's start with the matchup here that we have highlighted. Kind of a number 2 wide receiver play here. Obviously, like we always talk about, 6 teams on a bye, so you might have to play some of these guys. Would you rather have Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously Schuster, or Marvin Jones? Who would you take if you had to play someone?
For me, I'm going Juju Smith. He's been involved. And, if he gets a touchdown, he's definitely relevant, and they love him in the red zone. Martavis is not going to be in the game. He's going to be on the field a lot. And AB, he's going to be shadowed by probably going to be shadowed by Darius Slay Jr., who's been very well against number one wideouts. So I think Ben looks at Juju not more than AB, but more than you would expect. I like Juju.
Yeah, I like Juju as well. Marvin Jones was kind of a good play until we learned this morning that Golden Tate will play this week. So I like Juju Smith. Also, Pittsburgh has been emerging as a top defense as well. So could be a tough time for Matt Stafford and those boys, but I would go Juju Smith.
For me, I don't even think it's a question. I'm going Marvin Jones.
Wow.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to feed Lev Bell the rock. Antonio Brown's going to get 8-9 targets like always. And I think Golden Tate is back, but I don't think he's fully Golden Tate. I think Marvin Jones is going to be fed the ball a lot. The Detroit Lions are going to be down, and they're going to have to throw the rock.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Kev. We're going to see a lot of Le'Veon Bell this week. We're going to see a lot of Antonio Brown. And the Lions, their running game isn't really that hot. I do think Amir Abdullah will have a decent game this week, but they're going to rely on their receivers. Marvin Jones seems to get a lot of looks in the end zone. I'm going to pick Marvin Jones for this week.
Okay. Anything else that you want to touch upon with this matchup? I know we didn't talk about it in our last matchup video. I mean, the big guys we want to talk about, obviously, that rush game. Le'Veon Bell's going to do his thing. Antonio Brown's going to do his thing. But what about the Lions side? I know, Kev, you're an owner of Amir Abdullah. You confidently starting him this week?
I am starting him, but I'm not confidently starting him. The Pittsburgh defense is the real deal, man. They went into Kansas City against a great offense, and they held them to 6 yards in the first half. Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Alex Smith, 6 yards in the first half. The next week they play the Cincinnati Bengals. They hold them to 9 yards in the second half. Andy Dalton looked like my grandmother on the field.
Yeah,
he was insane. So they're the real deal, and I'm worried about my Amir Abdullah. So we'll see what happens.
Big win for the Steelers?
Yeah, I think the Steelers are the real deal, man. They're going to the AFC Championship for me, at least.
All right. Last one we'll talk about is that Monday night matchup, Broncos versus Kansas City. Would you rather start Demaryius Thomas or Tyreek Hill?
Oh, it's an easy one for me. I'm gonna have to go Demaryius Thomas. That like I said earlier, that Kansas City defense is just horrible. They've been lower than 20 ranked in both categories against the pass and the rush. They're going to get the run going, and they're going to open up the field for the pass. Demaryius Thomas, who hasn't really scored too many touchdowns. I don't even know if he has one. But I think he finally gets in there, and he'll have a lot of yards. So he's going to be the go-to guy for Simeon.
Okay, I'm actually going to disagree with you and go with Tyreek Hill, and this is why. I think that Kansas City is going to have to be much more creative against that Denver defense. They're a very strong defense, and I think they know that Kareem Hunt's coming for them. They know that Kareem Hunt's going to get the ball probably 20 times. So I think you're going to see a lot of end arounds to Tyreek Hill, maybe a lot of screen passes to Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. You're going to see him trying new things, and he might burn the defense over the top, and obviously he's the punt returner and kick returner too. So I think he has a good shot of maybe even taking one of those back to the house. So I'm taking Tyreek Hill in this one.
And I agree with you. The Denver offense looked really, really poor the last 2 weeks. I think Tyreek Hill is going to catch a bomb. And not only in the passing game, they use him as a punt returner. He might have a special teams touchdown. I think he's definitely the more valuable guy. You go Tyreek Hill, definitely.
You have to go Tyreek Hill. He's listed as the number 2 receiver this season currently in somebody's rankings. He just gets the ball way too often. He rushes the ball. He receives the ball. He kick returns.
Does it all.
He has too much potential. He gets so many points. You got to play Tyreek Hill this week.
Awesome. Kind of caught you off guard there, huh, Pete?
No, not really. I mean, I'm still rolling with DT.
Right. All right. Well, there you have it. There's some matchups for the Sunday games going forward. So now we're going to do some over-unders. We've taken some projections from some fantasy websites, and we're going to tell you now if those projections are too low or too high. We're going to do some over-unders, all right? So we're going to start at the top here with Joe Mixon. He's going to look to have his breakout game. A lot of fantasy analysts projecting that this is the game for him against the Indianapolis Colts. And he's projected for 10 points in the standard scoring league. What do you guys think? Is he going to go over or is he going to go under?
I'm going to go over. I think he gets in the end zone this week. He'll get over.
Kev?
I'm going over. Last week against the Steelers, in the first half, he had 7 carries for 50 yards. Then again, they didn't give him the ball again, and it's kind of a questionable decision. So this week they're going to be up against the Colts, and I think he's gonna eat.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going over too.
Yeah, I got to go over. The Colts 26 against the rush, giving up 125 yards per game. You got to go over.
All right, this next one a little bit interesting. Not really has to do with fantasy, but we're going to throw it in there anyway. Last week he threw the ball 7 times. Over under, how many times is Mitch Trubisky against the Saints going to throw the ball? We got here 20. Is he going to throw more than 20 or less than 20?
A lot less than 20. I think he's gonna rush the ball a lot. He's gonna hand off the ball 30 plus times between Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. Way under 20 this week.
What do you think, Kev?
I'm going way over. Drew Brees is an MVP candidate already. That offense is going to be rolling. They're going to put up a lot of points against the Bears. They're going to have to catch up. Mitch Trubisky is going to be let loose, and he's going to open it up, try to open it up.
I agree, but I don't think he's going to open it up per se. I think he's going to have probably 30, 40 pass attempts this week, and they're going to try to, throw him out there and have a great game, but I think he's going to throw maybe 1-2 picks, and Saints defense is going to be a great play this week.
I would have to go under. Because I think Drew Brees has been struggling lately. The Chicago defenses look good, and the Saints defenses look good. So I think it's going to be actually a defensive matchup there, and I don't think he throws it that many times.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to the Seattle and Houston game. Lamar Miller against that tough Seattle defense. We got him projected for 10 over under, Pete.
I think 10 is basically just right. But if I had to pick, I'd say slightly under, just because it's a good defense. It's going to be a loud environment. But they're gonna have to. I think DeSean's gonna have to rely on him, so he'll be right around 10 for me.
Okay, I'm going under. I think he has between 60 and 70 rushing yards, and I think they're gonna try to get creative with Deontay Foreman, and I think he'll see a lot of the points as well. So I'm going under.
I definitely agree. Seattle defense is very tough in Seattle. Plus Deontay Foreman is there. He's taking some of the carries. Well under 10 for me.
Yeah, significantly under. He's gonna be only getting yards in this game. He's not gonna get too many touchdowns.
All right, let's move on to LeGarrette Blount. We got 9 here for him. Are we going over or under for that, Mike?
I'm going to go under.
Under, Kev.
I'm definitely taking the over. The Eagles are going to be way up. They're going to be running the clock out.
I agree. I'm going over, Pete.
I agree over. He'll get in the end zone.
All right, last one, Le'Veon Bell. We got him for 17 fantasy points. Over or under against the Lions?
Over.
I'm taking over. Pittsburgh's going to be up.
Over. He puts up 30.
Over. You can't doubt Le'Veon.
You can't.
All right, well, there you have it. That's it for the games. Remember to ask us some questions. Get involved on Twitter at FNTSY Philosophy. We're going to be live tweeting the games on Sunday.